Welcome to Inside View. I'm your host, Joel Metzger, and joining me today is Forrest, who is the CEO of Destination Angels Camp, among many other things.
Hi.
Welcome back, Anne.
Thank you. It's nice to be here again.
Oh, it's so good to have you on the program, as always. I would have to say you're one of the busiest people I know who isn't working, in a career. You're giving a lot of your time back at this point, and you're making an impact in Angels Camp, wouldn't you say?
Well, I hope I have a large team of volunteers around me, and I think we are making an impact.
And just to kind of overview what it is that you mainly do over there with Destination Angels Camp, as well as the business association, but we're really going to focus on DAC tonight. You are kind of looking to revitalize the business climate at Angels Camp, bring more people here, and energize those who already are here and celebrate them in a way. Is that right?
Yes, twofold. One is economic development, which is keeping our businesses in Angels Camp, helping them expand and grow and do better business, and at the same time recruiting or attracting new business to Angels Camp. And then the second prong of what we do is really the whole destination development part, which is our number one industry is tourism. So we want to make sure that there's a lot for tourists to do in Angels Camp, restaurants, evening entertainment, shopping, food and lodging. And so that's the second prong of what we're doing.
I want to give viewers an idea of your pedigree in a way. What qualifies you to be doing what you're doing, and also why Angels Camp is so lucky to have you. So just briefly, take me back to what you did for most of your career.
Okay, I was in international public relations, doing mostly corporate and government financial public relations in Asia, working with very large corporations, whether they were Asian corporations that wanted to go out to the world, they were publicly listed on stock exchanges, and helping them shape the way they looked and act and what people thought of them so that they looked like international companies. At the same time, we took American companies in particular who were coming into Asia. This was in the 80s and 90s. And even companies like AT&T and others, people in Asia did not know what they were. They were household names in America, of course, and probably Europe, but not in Asia. And so building up their reputation, banks, manufacturers, people who were selling to Asia and helping them do that.
How did you like spending so much time over in Asia?
Oh, I loved it. It's exciting, and we operated throughout Asia, working for from Indonesia all the way to Korea, China, and so it was very, very interesting, a very exciting time.
How many years did you spend over there?
24.
24 years?
Yes.
So what brought you back?
I sold my business and retired, and my husband had worked for many years in the Bay Area and vacationed here. So I'm like probably 60% of the people who live in Calaveras County, or we are, because he vacationed here. He loved it. And when we got ready to leave Hong Kong, he started looking for places to live. He wanted a ranch and horses, and he found something, and here we are.
Now, would you say that you were dragged kicking and screaming, or did you have a soft spot for a small country town?
Well, I grew up in a small town of 3,000 people, so I'm on the East Coast, but so that's not anything unusual, and I really like it now. I couldn't wait to get out of there when I was a teenager, but I really do enjoy the fact that we know so many people and people care about you, and and in a small town you can make a difference too. And was I dragged screaming and kicking? Maybe a bit, but at the same time, I was going back and forth to the East Coast in New York, and we go back and forth to Hong Kong a lot. So I kind of eased out of the big city mode and into the town, and now I wear jeans all the time, and I'm here.
What inspired you to get involved, and what were some of the first things you got involved in Angels Camp?
The first thing I did was I bought a building downtown. Probably not my best move because, of course, buy high and then the recession hit. But I have an office building, a retail and a commercial building downtown. That got me into the Business Association as a member. Then I became president, and then we started the branding program for Angels Camp, and then that morphed into Destination Angels Camp because we knew that the area needed more than just tourism jobs. I mean, that supports a huge number of people in the area, but it needed more light manufacturing, more retail, commercial, professional. And so that's why Destination Angels Camp came into being.
Take me back to branding real quick. That was kind of an exciting time to think about what is Angels Camp and how should we brand it. And I know that a lot of people got involved and contributed to that. For those who don't know, what did you end up with in terms of a brand?
Okay, we worked. The city had a grant, and they had a professional team that came in who has done this all over North America for states, cities, regions, areas, and even districts within a city. So we had professional advice and counsel, but they interviewed about 35 local residents, business people, and then they charged us, they got us all together, or we got together, they asked us to get together, they weren't there, and asked us to think about what Angels Camp has that it could offer 52 weekends of the year, or 52 weeks of the year. Yes, we have the Jumping Frog and the county fair, but that's one weekend a year. So what are we going to do for the other 51? What do we have that's either we already have it that would make people get in the car and drive 2.5 or 3 hours to come to Angels Camp? Or what could we create that would make people come drive 2.5 to 3 hours? Because we've got about 17 million people in that 2.5 hour target area, so we don't have to go all over the world to market ourselves. And the team, we looked at everything from, okay, how about frogs? What would you do for 52 weeks of the year with frogs? How about the cowboys? History, we went through a whole bunch of things. And then someone spoke up and said, what we have is we have the world's greatest natural resources, and we've got all kinds of outdoor activities, and we have Worldmark here, the timeshare, we have hotels, etc., and we really should promote that as we are a base camp. People come and stay there, and then they spend all their time going out during the day. And everybody went, oh, we hadn't thought about it. We have the world headquarters for the top-notch experts in caving. We have oars, the world headquarters for oars. We have all these things that we just sort of took for granted. And the consultants that were hired thought they had come to the same conclusion, that we didn't have to create anything. We didn't have to put up frog museums and whatever, so that's how we came up with the base camp. We have all that, and then our task is to make sure that Angels Camp has what tourists want when they come up here, which is shopping, dining, and entertainment in a pedestrian-friendly environment.
So that's really the beginning, is to have your brand, and then you need to build around that brand.
Right.
So would you say that Destination Angels Camp took over from the branding committee and is carrying that dream forward?
Right, yes.
Okay.
And we took that, but it was really that was approved, that plan was approved by the Angels Camp City Council in the end of 2008. And of course, at that point, we were already into the recession, and this whole area was hurting terribly. And people were leaving, and their shops were closing and everything. And so about 2010, we said, yes, having vacationers come up sometimes they stay for a week or a weekend, but we really need to get other jobs. Our high school graduates are leaving town and never coming back, and people are moving because they can't find a job. So we need to be able to provide for a broader range and not just the historic downtown, which is where tourists would collect. And that's where you'd have your restaurants and your shops and your entertainment. So we need to think about all of Angels Camp and its sphere of influence. And then we went back to the city council and said we would like to set up an economic development organization. And they agreed. The city can't afford to hire someone full-time and all the, the office equipment and everything else. They just can't do that. So we said, as volunteers, we will take on that task, and we set up a public-private partnership with the city. We get some of our funds from the city, and so we are tasked with going out and retaining and recruiting businesses.
So the city helps out where they can, but you need more funding than that. How do you go about generating funds?
Well, we have approached we've approached the businesses in town, and so far we have, I believe it's 25 businesses who have joined an advisory council, but they have committed to supporting Destination Angels Camp for 3 years with a minimum donation of $1,000. So that started. Some people are already into their second year, and that gives us additional funding. All of our board members are volunteers. We don't have any paid staff. We have one outside administrative assistant that helps on a part-time basis, and then all of the board members have also committed to giving either significant time with expertise or in either in-kind or financial support. So that we had to do that. We have been going out with the city for grants. Grants are very few and far between right now. Hopefully that will get better. But that's the basis of the support.
Now, you are the CEO, right? How many people are on the board?
I believe there are 19.
So it's a pretty big board.
It's a big board. And, because they're volunteers, but half of them work full-time. And many of them are in our tourism industry. And then others, as we're all volunteers, so we have other parts to our lives. And having a bigger board really helps. We have an executive committee. We also have the city administrator, Wes Cullum, who is a city councilman, and the city planning director, who sit on our board and our executive committee. And that's part of this public-private partnership.
How often does the board get together?
Every Thursday. Every Thursday. The second Thursday of each month.
Okay.
And the meetings are open. We normally meet at Greenhorn Creek, but sometimes there are other places at 10:30 in the morning on the second Thursday, and the public is more than welcome to come and sit in on. And we have public comment time.
How do you think the public and Angels Camp residents have been in terms of buying into DAC's goals?
Well, I think that the recession, first of all, the branding program created a lot of, we don't want to change, and that type of thing. And people argued about everything from the frog to the logo and everything.
Oh, we should show that logo. I know it's a little bit small, but so the actual logo is a frog.
It's the frog. Well, we're going to have to do it here. Can you zero in on that?
Sure, I can hold this up for people. So we have a frog, and he's right here. And he has a backpack on?
He has a backpack, and he's got all kinds of gear.
And he's ready to head down to the mountains from the base camp, basically.
Right.
So that is kind of on all the stationery and all that kind of
the
stuff.
stationery, and the city adopted it as their official logo, as well. They can do it with or without the frog. I think most of their official stationery doesn't have the frog on it. Of course, the museum is using it now, if you've noticed the big sign for the museum. So all the city related. And the Angels Camp Business Association uses something very similar to this. There's a slightly different. But the whole reason for doing that is it's like when you see the Nike swoosh or any kind of logo, that if you see it consistently all, over and over and over again, then you begin to identify immediately, and Nike did that over the years. They don't put their name on anymore, you just have the swoosh. So it might be by having a consistent look across all these things in Angels Camp, it helps in the few times that we have to make an impression on someone. Hopefully in another 5 to 10 years, and it takes that long. Even for Nike it took that long, and they were selling millions of pairs of shoes all over the world. Or Starbucks, or you name it, any of those, that people will sort of see that look and know it's Angels Camp. And that's why we're trying to be consistent in that.
That's why brands are so important. Yeah, I love that. As soon as they see that, they just think Angels Camp immediately.
Angels Camp, right. So we have lots of things that we could be doing, such as wayfinding, the signage all around town and the entrance signs into the town. But we had a grant to do a real professional planning project, and everything is ready to go, but grants for implementation are few and far between. We've tried several times and have not fit the criteria. We think that's one of the single most important things we could do for our businesses in Angels Camp, is to have better signage so that as people head east or west, they don't bypass us.
So that big Highway 449 intersection with the bypass, it's easy to just head on up to
Sure.
Murphy's
and a lot of
or
people
Arnold.
don't even know they went through Angels Camp because there's only a little sign, there. And so we have some really good-looking plans, but it's probably $150,000, $200,000 to put signage all the way. It would be directional signage at the corners of various locations, pointing out the golf course or the sports center or that sort of thing, as well as entry signs, and then good parking signs and other types of signs downtown. And boy, I mean, we're ready to go, but we need the money.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Oh, yeah,
That would
it's
be
great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you said that one of the goals is to have everything that a visitor or a resident would need to kind of feel comfortable coming to this town regularly or living in this town. What do you think Angels Camp is missing right now?
Well, we're missing. We have some great shops, really, really interesting shops, and I'm always reminded of that when I have guests who visit here from anywhere in the world, and they go downtown for an hour and end up spending 3 or 4 hours, and so they love poking around in the various shops. And we've got some good long-term shops that attract people from all over the region already. Stories and Stones, Turner's Wild West, Firefall, a number of them. But we need to really double that. We need probably twice as many as we have now. We need businesses, and it wouldn't particularly be downtown, that service your sports people. So we need sports clothing, we need training programs, we need equipment sales of all kinds, because you can do just about everything here. So that we build up that base camp. And then downtown again, we need more restaurants. We're slowly but surely, but we could double or triple the number of restaurants, and we need some more evening activities down there.
Okay, so there is room to keep growing here for sure. Then.
Absolutely,
No doubt about
absolutely.
It. So you need like Sierra Nevada Adventure Company to open another store.
We'd love
in
it.
Angels
We would
Camp.
love it.
That would be cool.
Yes.
Because they're not too far away though,
No,
unfortunately.
but they have Arnold and they have Sonora, so
Why not Angels Camp?
Why not Angels Camp?
What about one step bigger? Could Angels Camp do well with something like a Target or something a little bit larger?
Oh, well, I mean, certainly over the years, all the years that I've been going to city council and everything, people would love to see a Target here. We have an area that we've tentatively called Heritage Oaks, which is at the 4 and 49 intersection with the bypass. You already have, what is that called? Frog Jump Plaza, where Starbucks and, and McDonald's and all the various, I kind of call it the food court. But that's what tourists want when they're traveling. They will eat good meals maybe once or twice a week, but then they'll run in and get faster food the rest of the time. And so that really serves a need. But that area going down 4 and then up 49, so it's the northwest quadrant, has quite a bit of land. So we have been working on and talked to the owners of the properties and that sort of thing. It is a really good, it's designated business attraction and expansion and for zoning, and so of course it doesn't have the infrastructure in, but that's an area that we see as a future opportunity for those larger stores and mixed use, so homes, apartments, light industry, that type of thing.
I think it's perfect to talk about the Redefining the Rush pamphlet that you put together, because really, to develop that 150 or so acres, you would need to attract some people.
Right.
So tell me about this one-page document you put together.
Well, it's 2 sheets, but two sides, one page. We put this together when a couple of us from Destination Angels Camp went to the International Conference of Shopping Centers last spring, and we'll probably go again this year. Developers, shopping center people, financial people, as well as all of these brands from all over come together at this conference. And those who are pitching, and it was almost every town in California was there, including the city of Sacramento and San Francisco. They had huge booths saying, come and invest in our town. We were just walking around introducing ourselves, getting to understand. And they all have a single page, maybe they have more, but people don't want to carry a huge amount of stuff that lays out basically what's the town, or what's the offer, and then what are you looking for and what do you have. So we've put together this. It gives people an opportunity to see that 2.5-hour drive time and the amount of population. It lists the Heritage Oaks area and shows what the potential is there for shopping centers or other kinds of commercial development. And then it talks about the demographics of the area and the types of businesses that we would like to see.
What are the demographics of this area?
We had also got another grant a while ago, and we have just gotten a grant to expand this research that we did, but it was a retail assessment research that was done by probably the top company in the United States that does this type of research. And what they did was we determined that people are willing to drive about 17 minutes to get to shopping. So we took a 17-minute drive time from Angels Camp as the target. We did not go to Sonora, and we didn't go to Jackson because they're their own shopping hubs. And with their research, they were able to tell that there were, at that point, about 46,000 people living in Calaveras, in that area, and determine their shopping patterns, what they bought, where they bought it. They do that with credit card, banks, and ATM sales slips it's all out there somewhere. And they determined, and I have to look, but I think it was something like the total spend, and this was in December of 2010, which was really the depths of the recession countrywide. The total spend of these 46,000 people was $385 million they spent. But they only spent $250 million in this 17-minute drive time area in our area, and that meant that 130 million went out of the county and went to Jackson, Sonora,
the Valley,
etc. And we see that as opportunity, and we have the statistics that tell you what it was they bought. Obviously, you know, whether it was automobiles or tennis shoes, and we think that we should be able to capture far more of that because that's sales, that's jobs, and everything. And we have those statistics. In addition, you know, besides the 385 million, that people spend here, that at the depths of the recession, we had $150 million were spent by visitors to the area. And that's tracked too. So you're well over $500 million spent in this area, and we need to capture more of that in Angels Camp. So that's what we're really looking at.
So very valuable document. And in the 3 minutes we have left,
yes.
I want you to talk about the 49 things to do, because we can't miss out on this.
No, we have just launched, and people should see these around in the stands and at the post office and everything, a book, brochure, and this is the tourism side of what we do, 49 best things to do from Angels Camp. And we've taken the base camp theme, and it's all about sports and shopping, the things that tourists want to do, the experience they want to have, a little short piece on Angels Camp, and then I think that people in Angels Camp will be surprised to read some of these things about Angels Camp, the kind of entertainment, culture, shopping, etc. But the thing that people are really liking is this map, and we've taken the 2.5-hour drive time, so we go to Tahoe to Yosemite. Here's Angels Camp in the middle, and we you know, have included all of that. There's a little map of Angels Camp here, and then we have 49 things to do. So it starts out with beer tasting and ends up with zip lining. And we've listed things all through the area. So it's not just what's in Angels Camp, but that 2.5-hour drive time with contact details. And this will also be on our website within the next month, and the list on the website obviously can be kept up to date. Once you print this, you've got it. So we have 25,000 of them, and we are happy to deliver them. We've had calls now from all over the county asking if they could have some of these brochures, because people are walking around with them and they love them.
So you guys are doing things.
We are doing things. We've got lots of things we're doing, yes.
Wonderful. So people want to find out more. What's the website?
The website is destinationangelscamp.com.
And could they call anyone?
And they can call 736-0088.
Okay. And thank you for what you do, and I wish you the absolute best of luck in the future years.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining me on this edition of Inside View. I'm your host, Joel Metzger, and I hope you join me next time.